Hey everybody! It's so good to see you guys. Happy New Year! 2023. Can you guys believe it? Yeah. Year's flown by. I am so excited to see you guys. I'm gonna give you another little minute for everyone else to join. Sorry, I realized that music might be really aggressive. I was like, just really excited to see you guys. And I'm like, yes. I'm gonna make this a fancier update later, but I'm posting something in the group. All right, everybody. Who's ready to write some copy today? I'm ready to write some copy. I think it's gonna be decent. Like, seeing everyone add, come in. How is everyone feeling today? We can do like thumb up, thumb middle, thumb down. Any of the above. Yeah.
I feel a little because I haven't been here, so I'm doing catch up. That's okay. Okay.
Yes. Discombobulation. I feel like also, especially after the holidays, like
Oh my gosh. It
it's
was like 3 weeks of mayhem here. Great stuff, but I'm like, okay, I need to get busy.
I was talking with another one of my clients, and she was like, so I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they have both had like 3 different illnesses each. They've had 9 different doctor's visits. It was like a throat thing to a head thing to an ear thing, and it's just like, oh my God, I can't even. That would be a lot.
I do have a question from last week. Do you want me to do it
Yeah,
later after you teach?
yeah, let's do it, and like let's do it in a second.
Yeah,
And then
perfect.
I want to answer any and all questions that you have. So we'll get into it.
All right.
I love it. I'm so happy to be here too. Oh, it's so good to see you. Oh my God, Amber. I think I'm wearing that exact same sweater for my webinar tomorrow. I'm not kidding. Oh, wait, mine's up. Mine's a higher turtleneck, but I love a puppy
From
sleeve.
Express.
Oh my God, I'm here for it. Okay. Yep. I might be getting that sweater. You might see me copying that soon. I was like, I feel like the puppy sleeve is like my kind of new signature Megan look that I've created. But today we're going to be doing some copy. So I want to give you guys ample time for that. And because we are now 2 months into our program, we're over halfway through, or it's like we're halfway through all of the content. So we are officially in module 3 of 4. And I want to check in and talk with you guys about something that I've kind of realized that we're doing here. And again, you guys know that you are my founding members. So I've been like working through this program as we go. And I really, really appreciate any and all feedback I've been getting. And here's something I realized. I was coaching a friend of mine, and I realized that I think that every business has a formula. And I'm going to talk with you about that and how we're going to enhance and create your formulas as we go. And then just kind of like a recap and review. Here are some like updates as we are like halfway through the program. And we're again like 2/5 of the way through the actual program. And then with halfway through the content, 2/5 of the way through this program. And then I want to teach you guys just like 3 simple ways that you can write copy, and just like think about writing copy as you go forward. And then I want to show you just an example of my copy that I did just for you guys to see. Perfect, Demetria. That's totally fine. And we are going to just kind of roll with it. So here's what I've realized. There is a formula for your business, and there's a formula for my business. And I like to think about it like a formula because I found that when I think about things that are like, when I put in the data of like my business, it kind of takes away the drama. So within my business, the things that I know for sure work is that every time I do outreach for 10 people, I get 1 consult. It's kind of crazy. And I do outreach like, my God, I really have not done it as much as I should. I would say like 8 to 9 times within the past year, minus the webinars. And literally like every time I do it, it works. So that's one of the main thing I want you guys to focus on, because that's what I've heard across the board is that outreach works. Now, there are other things that I do that also work. There's webinars. I know that when I do a webinar, I typically get at least one consult. And these are conservative numbers. I'm like wanting to be like as um like worst case scenario kind of like thinking. But like whenever I do a webinar, now I get a consult. Now with the live coaching calls that I do in my Facebook group, every time I do like 4 coaching calls, I get a consult. When I do, and it might not be from the people who are even joining the coaching calls, but it'll just be from someone else. When I do presentations, there are like 13 presentations that I did. So I did like sororities, I presented at NC State, I did a women's group, and I did 2 coaching groups. 13 presentations I did just this past year, and I got 1 consult. Shout out to Christina, and then referred by 2 other people, Shayna and Demetria. And then with referrals, this is something that I'm like kind of tweaking, but it's like for every 20 clients that like refer me, I'll get like 4 consults, but a lot of them won't work out. I'll get like 1 client from them. I've done around 900 posts this year. And because
Wow.
of 900 posts, yeah, I have gotten only 10 consults from Instagram, and only 3 have converted ever to be a client. I've done like 200 emails this year. I did 364 emails total. No one's ever come from an email list. And I did 60 episodes of a podcast, 0 clients. The reason why I'm sharing this with you is these are all the things that I'm probably not even thinking of some things, but I'm like, these are the things that I tried to make my business work. And I was like, let's just like, it was kind of felt like throwing spaghetti at a wall. I didn't really have, even though I had like a marketing coach and things like that, like, and I was like heavily investing in my business. I invested, even though I made 47, I invested $62,000 just into coaching last year. And this year I'm going to do about 66,000. So I invest heavily into my education and things like that. And we'll talk about that in order to make this happen. I think that first off, what I've seen is that I'm like, okay, doing these things will work, but I've also been doing them over the course of the past year and a half, because I did have a business coach. Like my first coach I ever had was a business coach. She's like kindly included me in general life coaching because I was like, my life is falling to shit and I desperately need your help. Thank you, Jackie Murphy. Look up Yoga Boss. She's amazing. Still like one of my like closest friends. I also, in order to get these results with the webinars, I don't know if you guys have seen all the webinars that I posted, but like I did so many webinars. You know, I did like I think the first like 4, I didn't even like post because I felt so embarrassed because no one showed up. So I like, yeah, look at all these. And yeah, my annual plan webinar, which y'all should totally come to. It's going to be session 15 of our, it'll be like, you'll get a more in-depth version of the annual plan webinar, but it'll still be super helpful for you if you want. And so it's like, I've got all these different webinars that I've done over the course of my business to get those kind of results. I also, with the live coaching calls, I just started doing them literally like to launch the group. So it was like in September. If that like, so I think what I see happen with myself and what I see happen with other people is like, I'm telling you the things that work, but I think that there might be a thought that like, oh, it works at this caliber right now. So that's what I'm expecting from my business right now. Y'all have just learned how to do outreach 3 weeks ago. I've known how to do it for 2 years or a year and a half. I got Berna, she's February of 2021. So yeah, close to a full year and almost 2 full years of doing outreach, even though I'm not doing it well. I'm like, it's still decent for that to become that clear. within webinars, I've done a ton of webinars. So this is now my conversion rate. I'm saying this because I don't want you guys to think that like, okay, I'm going to try this and it's going to work instantly. It might take time. It's taken me 2.5 years to get to this point. And that's because I was like literally investing every penny that I had and then some. I was in a lot of debt, which is like, it has worked for me. But it's like in this place that I am in my business, I don't want you to compare yourself to me. And even if you've been in your business just as long as I have, even if you've been investing in your business, I don't know why, but this is the formula I've been able to figure out. And I want you guys to focus on the outreach piece of it. I'm giving you all the pieces of it, minus the email list and the podcast, because it didn't convert at all for me. So I was like, if it didn't work for me at all, and I'm sure it's like everything is always working, but when I want to increase the intensity of my business, I want to focus on the areas that are converting the most people. So we want to amplify the things that work. And I'm teaching you, this is my formula for what worked for me over the past 2.5 years, because I've been in it for a bit. We are going to figure out your business formula by you implementing everything except for 7 and 8, because they didn't convert. But that's what I'm teaching you in this. For the first half of this mastermind, we're focusing all on the direct, like pretty much all on the direct. Like this is directly how I got clients. And I slammed it at you pretty quick. I know. I'm going to slow it down for the next group. And I appreciate your founding member patience, because you guys have done a fucking phenomenal job. But I don't want you, I've gotten also, what I didn't add on here is my website. From what I understand, I think that was like potentially the most triggering call that we've had. And my goal is to trigger you in a positive, like, again, there's no such thing as like a good trigger or a positive trigger, but like to open up some blind spots, give you some action, and not get you triggered to the point that you shut down. Not my intent, but I think that might have been what happened. So if you're feeling very overwhelmed, it's okay. I'm letting you know that we're coming to the end of like things that you're going to be doing in your business. The rest are more like philosophies and things that you can implement as well. Now, there are also indirect ways that you guys are bringing people into your business. Like for me, education is everything for me. Surrounding myself in this positive environment, hence me investing a lot of money into coaching. I've had general coaches. I've had business coach. I've had marketing coaching. I've had marketing masterminds, business masterminds, certification, general coaching groups. I have done a lot of coaching. And this is like, I also have listened to like all these podcasts and things like that, because they help me stay in high value cycles for me. I'm always producing well when I'm surrounded in a good environment. And my goal for you guys is that this is a really positive environment where you're like, oh my gosh, like, okay, I've got the tools. Yes, I am feeling very maybe stressed, but at least I can see the tools. And like what I was talking about, I think 2 weeks ago, was that like it's almost like the first year I had of teaching, I just felt like I was thrown off a ship and I didn't know how to swim, and I was just kind of like floundering in the water, and I was like, this is scary. And then actually year 2 and 3 were even harder, because I feel like I knew how far the shore was. I knew how deep the water was. I knew there were creatures. And it's like almost that awareness of all the things that you can be doing in your business can be even scarier. So now I feel like I've given you guys a lot of awareness for all the things that you can be doing in your business. And I don't want it to be something that like brings you down. I want it to be something that you use for you and something that brings you up. So I also self-coach as much as I can. And like just in December, even though I haven't been great about it this year, I had 52 single space type pages to help keep myself in a positive mindset in a high value cycle. You don't have to be positive to sell, but it really helps me to stay good. And then just in 2022, I wrote 67 pages of cold, 60 pages of warm, and 70 pages of hot. And this is not including my email list or anything like that. So I want you to see that it's not something that I'm expecting you guys to implement right away and see conversion instantly. It's taken me a hot minute. I think my cat knocked something over. Did you guys hear that? Okay, good. Yep. That's fine, probably. But it's like within this container, I'm just trying to give you everything that I did that worked. And so I know that we might not know your formula yet, but I know that all of you guys are going to figure it out. I truly feel like every single one of you has such a phenomenal business. Like, I can't believe you guys are in my first round. Like, it feels like should be like my 15th round of this group because all of you guys have phenomenal ideas. You guys are working so freaking hard and you're doing amazing. Like, your businesses are some of the most incredible businesses I've ever seen, let alone I get to be your coach. Like, I feel so honored and excited about it. And I think it's awesome. And so within that, I've given you a lot. I've given you 2.5 years of thousands of dollars in investing and education, all these different kinds of things. And so what I want you to do is if you're feeling overwhelmed in this process, I want to support the hell out of you, obviously, because you guys are geniuses and going to do amazing things in this world. But I want you to focus on, like, if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, this is too much, you will have lifetime access to this page. And the website, like, I didn't even get it. I've never gotten a client from my website. So that's freaking you guys out to do like all of the things, the webinar, the posting, the live coaching calls. I want you to pause that for a little bit. If you're at the point where you're like, I feel like I don't have time, and I want you to focus on, if you can spend 2 hours a week ish doing work, what I want you to do is I want you to self-coach for 30 minutes. I want you to do 30 minutes of outreach. I want you to respond to people and maybe do a post. Maybe, not even like, and that's what I'm saying, that I'm prefacing our copy workshop with the fact that I have gotten 3 clients out of 57 people from my posting. It's a skill that I'm working to develop. I think it's gotten a lot better, but it's not something that I want you to be like, I have to write perfect copy or else no one's going to convert. Because it does not, all of you guys, I'm going to do it and I'll talk to you guys. I'm going to do an audit and just check out your social media. But I'm pretty sure that all of you guys, like, I think Demetria got coached on this last week, but it's like, if you go to your page, you understand that you're a coach. Like, and actually I took pictures of you guys' screenshots of your Instagram pages before we started working together. And that was not the case for some of you guys. It did not look like maybe you were a coach even. Like, I was like, we weren't really sure. And now I think that all of you guys have enough in the 9 cubes of your feed to, like, it looks like you're a coach. People get what you do. If you just focus on outreach, you'll be fine. The other thing is that within copy, I think it can feel really stressful to get it right. And I want you to know that it is a practice, is something that I've been working on for a while. And I would not say that I'm a master at copy at all, but I have figured out a formula for how I do my copy. And so I'm going to share that with you guys today. But I don't want you to be like, if I don't write perfect copy, it's like my business is going to shit. Because your business is not going to go to shit just based on your copy. Okay. And Carrie, I see your hand. I want to answer your question and Deb's question. And I want to get through this part and then I promise I will answer it. Okay. But keep your hand up because I don't want to forget. Okay. So here's another thing that I've realized. Y'all are my first founding members. But I also realized that this program has gone quickly. Amber, thank you so much for bringing that up. I've now extended it to 6 months. So I think that'll make it a little bit better. And I'm going to launch in April and in October. So that means that I'm going to start the group in October. You guys had like 1 less month. And I think that we've gotten the brunt of your information has been during the holiday season. So I want to, like, first and foremost say that, like, what champs you guys are, like, for making it through that. Like, you've done great. We're going to slow things down from here on out. I'm going to keep giving you things, but it's going to be on a slower scale. And I realized that, like, since like December 12th or something, no one has been really posting in the group. And I think that's because I said at the beginning of our sessions, I was like, okay, well, in your contract that you guys signed, I was like, okay, turn in your work by Sunday. I will check it by Tuesday. What I didn't realize is that there really aren't submissions anymore. All these things are systems that are like you put in place, but I don't need to check up your follow-up email to say that instead of the career fulfillment initiative, it says creating big things or big life change coaching program. I don't need to check that. So I've just kind of like, I think that when I told you guys that, it was more so to check your submissions, but guess what? You're not submitting anything anymore. So we're recanting that statement. We're just gonna go back and I'm gonna start checking just if you guys have questions or things like that, put them in the stream. And at the very least, I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. So at the very least, I'm going to be checking Wednesday after this call, because I feel like after this call, there are going to be lots of questions that might not be answered. And I want to make sure that if they don't get answered on this call, I answer them at least by Wednesday. And for sure by Friday, I'm also going to check again because I felt like checking it on Monday and then our group is on Tuesday. It's like, okay, well then what's the point of asking a question? I don't want you to feel like that. I want you to feel like this is a really wonderful program for you to grow. And I want to make sure I can support you guys in any questions that you guys have. So we're going to slow things down and ask questions. And I've noticed that like, because I was checking on Mondays, I was like, well, what am I going to check? I'm going to check your forums. And I think that a lot of you guys like haven't done forums in a while. And I want you guys to please give me like, let me know if you guys are at a asking for help. Please ask for help. If you're feeling like stressed, I want you to use the forum and I want you to use the stream. Now, it doesn't mean like just like everything sucks and nothing is working. Like we will hold space for you, but like come with like some sort of solution. Come with like something that like is tangible that we can work on. But like if you're at a stage 1, this is from the first coaching session we ever did, stage 2 or stage 3, I know that this group is challenging. I'm not expecting you guys to not have, I think that everyone is probably going to go through a stage of one of these at some point in your business, maybe even in this career where I can support you, or in this container where I can support you. So if you're like, okay, stage 1, I'm feeling really confused and overwhelmed. Or no, I'm feeling very confused, just kind of like a little uneasy. Ask for help. I can help you for sure. Stage 2, if you're feeling very overwhelmed, please say something. I would love to help you. And then stage 3, just like completely shutting down and full on panic. Please don't get to stage 3. If you're at stage 3 right now, that's okay. Like I will help you. But like, I don't want you to get to that point where you're feeling like so like deeply like in so much stress that you can't move forward in your business. That is not the intent of this group. It is to support you 1,000,000%. So thank you guys for like reaching out for those of you that did, that felt like they were in those places and felt like this group was like, thank you for like helping me to see that. This is my first round of this group ever. And I want it to be amazing for you guys. And so I really appreciate like feedback, and any feedback is good feedback. So I also included in here, if you want to give anonymous feedback, if you're like, okay, I don't feel like I feel like, of course I want Megan to like receive my feedback, but I'm like, I don't want her to know it was me. Here's the anonymous one. So if you are like, okay, if I don't feel comfortable doing it in my form, like up here, then feel free to just do the anonymous one. And that like, we're already 2 months in and I would love to hear what you guys think. So before we start writing copy, Carrie, actually Deb first, and then I'll do Carrie. Oh, Deb, so I think you're muted. Oh, I just can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
That was magical. Yes, I was like, the mute wasn't on, but
yeah, no, I had my sound off. Sorry.
Gotcha.
That was me. So, you talked about last week, it takes you a half hour to an hour to do your content.
Yep.
Does that include, because like, that's when you're like doing the videos, but how much time does it take you to actually come up with the ideas? And when you're having your ideas, are you trying to have a theme, or are you just kind of like, oh, this on this day, this on this day?
Yeah. So
right. I don't.
Great question. I think that in my mind, I was like, yeah, I'll just give them this and they can just implement it right away and they're going to be able to figure it out. When I first started writing copy, it would take me like 5 to 6 days.
Mhm.
Now, I didn't have a copy calendar, and I had a marketing coach that was like helping me to make that copy like the marketing calendar where I did the pillars.
Mhm.
That's how I themed it. I themed it around that because I was like, this makes sense to me. I feel like I'm going to get notoriety. But it took me for fucking ever. And I realized that like talking to you guys and be like, yeah, you should be able to do this in 30 minutes. Inappropriate. Not where you should be. It's taken me like a year and a half to get to this point. I hired Berna in February of 2021. I wish she still did it, but she's also a photography person. But when we worked together, I was in her mastermind and in her group, and I hired her for a one-on-one coach, and we worked our butts off to get to the point where I could actually pop out copy like I do now. I would say that a reasonable, without keeping perfection in mind, I would say that taking around an hour on just figuring out what topics you want to talk about,
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
super reasonable. If you only have 4 pillars, so if we think about it, that's like 4 pillars divided by 60 minutes. So that's like, and it's 12. You guys are going to do 8 posts and then there'll be 4 testimonial posts. So that's like 7.5 minutes per post, just to think of an idea, a headline for. I would say that that's reasonable. I think I was like, yeah, this is how fast it takes me. And it was like extreme, too much. It shouldn't take you that long, or it shouldn't be that fast. Then to do each post and actually write each post, which is what we're doing today, I would say taking about 20 minutes per post, 20 to 30 minutes. Let's give you 30 minutes because I want you to be like a perfectionist about it, but like a 30 minutes per post, which is what we're doing today. That's why I was like, we're going to take 30 minutes to write one piece of copy for all 8 of those posts. That's 240 minutes, which is 4 hours. Okay. So if that's where your business is at, that's why I don't work on Fridays. I do a lot of the content batching in that time. I know that you guys do not have that. Some of you guys are working other jobs at this point, and you might not have time to do that right now. If you don't have time for that, focus on the outreach and the post will come. But if you do have time, that's a realistic, I would say, for where y'all's businesses are at. And we're going to do Monday Hour One, not this week, not next week, because next week I'm just going to give us a buffer week. We're just going to do coaching for the whole 2 hours. So next week is just coaching, but then we'll get into Monday Hour One and how to manage your time, because we're just going to slow it down a little bit. Because I'm like, and what I told you guys, actually, it's funny, the copy I picked literally because I didn't do this with you guys, but I was like, I just want to give them everything. And I'm like, let me teach you everything. And I think it was a bit overwhelming. So
I love the batching idea. That's why I want to get it down. But I just didn't know if you like had a theme or if every day it was just like whatever you felt like plugging in there.
It was essentially like I would use the theme of the pillars.
Okay. Okay, perfect. That's easy.
Yeah. Like, and I literally, we'll talk about copy, but I literally like, I don't know if you guys remember when we did our one-on-one call, but I would literally like take like when it's a problem, what the solution, it's like the problem, the solution, the result, and the process result, PSPR. And so I literally like go through and I'll like copy and paste that into my copy. And we'll talk about that in a second, but like literally like you could just do that for at least your first month. And I think that's a good starting place.
Perfect. Thank you.
Of course. Great question. Carrie, what is up?
Just a quick question. I might have missed this, but you keep saying copy. What is, we're going to make a copy. What is that?
What are we making a copy of? Really good question. Copy, great question. Copy are the words that you write for your marketing.
Okay. I was thinking something similar to that, but I was like, I just better.
Thank you for clarifying. Yes. So when you write copy, it's just the words under a post.
Okay. Got it.
So it's like, you could think of it like the caption, but the reason why the word copy is used, I think, I've never actually looked into this, but I think the reason why copy is used is like, it could go for a post, it could go for an email, it could go for an ad. Like I'm trying to, even in like your website, like that, the words on your website are considered copy. So yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Of course, that was a really good question. I love you guys so much. I'm so, so proud of you. And I'm excited to like, I want to be like a really chill day. We're just going to write some copy. We're going to get into it. And I'm going to give you a full 30 minutes to test it, try and write one piece of copy. So I know we're going a little over, but that's okay. So copy the words in your like posts and things like that. We're going to focus specifically on Instagram, but I repost this and I repurpose all content because I'm like, work smarter, not harder. And when I use any and all of my content, I try and multi-purpose it. When I had a podcast, I would use whatever I did for the podcast, I would post about, I would like I used one post across like all forms of social media. I actually have dwindled down to just Instagram right now, but I used to use it all across LinkedIn, across Facebook just repost it. So that's the other outlet I use. I used it on TikTok and things like that. I actually haven't been on TikTok in a hot minute because I'm like just trying to focus on writing copy on Instagram. So here's like the 3 steps that I use. And I think it'd be really helpful for you guys to draw on people when you're writing your copy. You want to start your post with something that's engaging. So, and I know that sounds like duh, but like you want to like prompt people to be like, okay, I want to read more. And the reason why I would say that taking 7.5 minutes per headline is a good, or per idea is a good thing, is it's something like, oh, I forget the statistic. It's like 82 to 88% of people only read the first 7 words of your post. Like ridiculous. And that's why I like the visuals and things like that. I think it's really important because very few people will actually read the whole post. So if you're going to spend time here. Think about a different way to like start it. We can like think of different sentence starters, but like something I like to do is like a question. It's like, how long? It's like we could do something about copy. It's like, how long have you taken to write your copy? Maybe you don't take that long. Focus on your headline or something like that. Like a statistic, 88% of people only read the first 7 words. Something surprising like I wrote this week, like I am fortunate enough to coach one of my clients. He has he's one of the 3 from Instagram, literally was scrolling through, found me, and he has a $10 million business, 40 employees. He's built it over 2 years. It's ridiculous. And I was like, that's something surprising. Like, I don't think that most people think I work with a guy who runs a $10 million business. I'm like, yeah, I do that. I don't know why he started working with me in January for next. I do. I help him out, but like, funny. So things like that, they can be something funny, like something that anything like that. And I like to think about cold leads again are about your personal story. So it's like, this is what I learned. This is my personal experience. So that's what you're talking about with your cold leads. For your warm leads, Ace is like, here's what I can teach you. Like, this is for you, how to do something, what I learned, or it's like what you can learn from this, it's focused on them. And then your hot leads is like, this is someone else's results from coaching. So it's like, we're going to focus on you having personal experience, what you will give to them, and then another person who's experienced a similar problem and they've gotten results. So within the body, that's when you want to, like, this is what you're starting with. Guess what? Your problem. This is why PSPR is kind of jazzy. I was like, use your pillars. That's why we did that work. And you're going to start with a certain problem. And this is like specifically when your cold leads, when you used to have the problem, your warm leads will be when they are experiencing a problem. And for your results, it's when someone in your program had that problem. We're going to focus mostly on writing copy for your cold and warm leads, because for your hot leads, you're going to take what they said for their video and convert it to talk to type. So it's like, it's mostly about the warm and cold leads. That's where I wanted you to spend that 4 hours a week focusing on your 8 core posts. Then for your body, it's like, okay, the problem, the solution, it's like what they did. This is the solution. It's not your process. Does that make sense? You're not going to, you could say the name of your process. That's why I said to give you guys a catchy name can be helpful. It's like I do Monday Hour One with my clients, and it's like they needed a calendaring system. What I did is I gave them my calendaring system, which is Monday Hour One. Okay. But you're not telling them for Monday Hour One, you write down all the things on your to-do list and then you do this because it's just too much, especially if people are only reading like 88%. Like, you don't want to waste your time explaining your process to them. You don't need to. You just need to tell them that you have a process. Okay. So it's pretty much problem, solution, and then it's like mini skip process, and then the result. Why it's important. It's like, I want you to have a business that feels easy. I want you to stop overeating. I want you to never binge eat again. And I want you to think about like what that could create for you, you know? And I want you to use those pillars. That's why we did that work. So that's what you have in the body. And then the last part is a call to action. A call to see, it's the CTA. If you ever hear someone abbreviating it, it's just fancy words to like call or I like the word compel people to action. It's like to do something. From the post, we want them to take some sort of action. We want them to have like, if you think about the coaching model, it's like we want them to have the thoughts and the feelings that are compelling enough to do something from it. Now, with the cold leads, that's where I like to focus on like and follow for more. It's like, yeah, just like and follow. It's like a softer action. It's something that's pretty easy to do and something that is like something easy, something kind of like that. With your warm leads, that's where you're asking for like a stronger action. Like if you think about like Stepper, you know, it's like if they've never met you before, you don't want to be like, sign up for my program. It's like, well, I don't know if we know what your program is. I don't know. So it's like, sign up for the Facebook group. That would be a great place for you. For webinars, when I'm launching my webinar that week before and the week during, I only do warm. So I'm like, join my webinar, join my webinar, join my webinar. Pretty much. That's like what you're seeing on my page right now. And then for hot, sign up for a consult. Sign up for a consult. And actually, I take that back. When I do webinars, I pretty much only do warm because you want to direct them. If you think about your sales funnel, like we talked about before, is like you, instead of giving them all of these different options for them to take an action with, you want to give them one specific action, just one simple thing for them to do. Because if they did too many, it could be like, even like put an emoji in the comments, post like something like that. But like, I found that people don't love doing that. So that can be it. So here's an example of the copy I did. And I picked this because I was like, it's ironic. And I was like, we can have a good laugh. But it's like, instead of dousing my people in my information, I did break it down into digestible, teachable concepts. And so that's like people are like, oh, dousing information. It's like, am I dousing people information? What is a digestible, teachable concept? That's like the beginning of it to build a little intrigue. Then it says, oh, I used to get so excited telling people about coaching. I would try and teach them everything about at once. There was an ant of proving myself as well. So it's like, oh, I would be like, here's the model to help you manage your thoughts. And oh, here's a scheduling system. And oh, you'll probably want this financial tracker. And oh, let me help you make a marketing calendar too. And my people were absolutely overwhelmed. Okay, you guys, well done. We've made it through. I'm not going to douse you anymore. We're taking a break. But it said the fire hose style of giving information wasn't proving anything other than making my coaching seem confusing, turning people away that might have wanted to work with me. It was like a disease that showed up in my coaching, old podcast, marketing, and definitely in my webinars. Then I realized that coaching was just like teaching. Instead of dousing my people information, I had to break it down to digestible, teachable concepts. So I explain, this is the headline. Sometimes I put my headline in twice, just so that people, the more you hear something, the more you understand it. So when I started to break down my concepts, just like I used to teach my elementary school students, people start flocking to me because whenever I'm teaching a concept, it makes it really easy to understand. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, my people were clear. They could get value from my teaching immediately, which created a lot of demand for my coaching, and they wanted to work with me even more. I can see now that teaching is a critical part of my coaching business and a skill that's desperately needed in the industry. Okay, so this is my why. So it's like we go in through the like, this is my problem, my process, my result. I see now that teaching is a critical part of a coaching business, and it's a skill that's desperately needed in the industry. So I added teaching concepts to my program, Six Figure Systems, where I'll work with clients and help them teach their concepts better, specifically with webinars, but other concepts too. So that's kind of like my process. But you see how I'm like just sliding it in at the end. I'm like, here's my process. You won't understand what that is, but I want to tell you why it's important. And then follow me so you can see how I teach my concepts, usually my second post of the week, and start to do the same. So that is copy. Now you notice something. I could read that almost like I was talking about it, right? That is the secret. So I want you guys, instead of typing your copy, you can. Sometimes there's two ways I've seen people do it. People type their copy and then they read it back like verbally. Or what I like to do is I like to go into that cold document and I like to literally open up Talk to Type and I like to talk into it and see how, like, if there's anything that needs clarity. And then I go back and I edit it because it just sounds a little bit more like me. And what I want you to do is I want you to just write one piece of copy for this month. Use your headlines. And what I'll do is like sometimes I'll write like an outline. So I'll be like, okay, I want to talk about this, this, and this in the body. Okay, let me just talk about this, this, and this using Talk to Type, and then write your posts. And then like edit it. So we're going to go through and do that. And then once the 30 minutes is up, what we're actually going to do is instead of regular coaching, because we're going to reserve next week for 2 hours of full coaching. So you're going to have 2 hours to ask any questions. And I also want you posting, if you have questions about your copy and want to make it better, please post it in the stream. I did it for, I think, Deb, I talked to you about your copy that it wasn't copy, but it was like things that you were sending your people, maybe Dorit, about like what you were saying. But like, I love looking at copy. It's like really fun for me. I'm actually better at looking at other people's copy than I am my own. Like we did this in 200K and I could just like rattle off shit for other people, but like sometimes it's harder for me. So sometimes getting someone else's eyes on that is really helpful. And you can start to like read other people's copy and be like, oh, I like that. I'm going to use that. Or, oh, that did not land with me. Why? Okay, I'm going to avoid that in my business in the future. It might be working for them, but I don't really love it. So start like intriguing, getting engaged with it. But this is a process. It takes, I don't think there's ever anyone that fully masters anything with any business ever, but copy especially, I think that it's something that people will try and sell you. They will say, I can teach you, I can write this copy that will convert. If you just pay me like $500, you'll have 1 million clients in yesterday. And it's like, yes, but I find that like people want to get to know you and your business. So maybe there's a point in my business where I might like, outsource copy, but today is not that day. And I found that it's been really helpful for just like a learning process for me as well. So this is just a process. We're going to go through it. Even if you're like, my copy is shit, I still want you guys to like at least post one piece of copy in the feed. Okay. So post at least one, if you feel comfortable with it. And I would love to like look at it. And then we're going to talk through whoever feels comfortable's copy. And then next week is just reserved for coaching. So today we're just talking about copy. Next week is coaching the whole time. Are there any questions?